Hey everyone, hope they're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We're going to work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all these topics and subjects, looking for potential investment opportunities, sharing those opportunities with everyone in the community. I just released one today, the midweek update. You can see that, and it's uploaded on the website. We do have a coupon code special. Special is the coupon code, and that gets you further savings on the monthly and yearly memberships. Let's dive in, see what's going on today. So looking at the DXY, we've got a stronger dollar, and that does look like it's trying to put in a move higher. We've got the position here. That's that big green kind of bullish engulfing candlestick, the small selling pressure. Oh my goodness. Small selling pressure kind of coming through here in a flag pattern that could potentially head higher. So the dollar doesn't look too bad at this exact moment. Usually, strong dollar comes from strong yields, but if there is fear in the market, you can see stronger dollar and weaker yields. And today we are seeing weaker yields on the short end, pulling on back about 1.5%. The 10 years pulled back a little bit, 0.43%. And then the 30 years up 0.62%. Kind of a weird looking yield across the board here. So we're up on the long end and down the most on the 2 year, the short end. And that, I don't, a lot of the times when you see panic in the markets, you'll see the entire curve drop or the entire curve go up if it's something else. But right now, we have a pretty big move on the short end. Now, this short end move, you can see all these small candlesticks here. We've got the bigger greens here. Most of the time, when I see this big kind of, I look at these candles as a gauge of force. So force is applied by the buyers to shoot this up. In this case, it would be sellers of bonds. They shoot it up, and then someone's almost like in there buying it back down a little bit. But a lot of the times you get a mismatch. You get a big force move up, a slow move lower, which eventually will work its way on up. Maybe it comes back and does a double bottom or something like that. We've got TLT bond prices that are down 0.81% on the 20 year. And we're underneath a gaggle of resistance that's above us. All these different trend lines going all over the place. We've got the 2 and the 10. It is uninverting today. There it is, pulling back 1.13%. If we get a drop in this where it really starts to move, that is generally fear and panic in the system. And that maybe that's going to align with this tariff stuff that's coming up in the market. So look for that. Here it is. There's 9/11 in there, the housing crisis, C19, and then if this starts to drop, that's when you could see a potential event, so to speak. I don't know what the event is, but that is definitely a possibility, and there is what it looks like in the short term. If it comes back up and inverts, um, things can be a little bit different. But also keep in mind though, they've been releasing a lot of debt on the short end of the curve, and this curve could be distorted to some degree. TYX TNX ratio moving on up. We are up 0.61% today. Pretty nice candlestick. I am surprised that gold is not up. We did have a stronger dollar, so that is a headwind for gold. But usually when this yield curve uninverts, it's generally a tailwind behind gold. So if you get the alignment of weaker dollar and the yield curve uninverting, which it did, and this one too, generally that's tailwinds behind gold. Gold was down $30 an ounce, 0.9%. It's still consolidating here. And that's what we're doing right now. There's not a ton of selling pressure up here, at least not yet. The candlesticks are not big. They're not closing at their bottoms. You got little wicks at the bottom here, and the candles are getting smaller with time. You can see these 2 or 3 candles there are pretty small compared to these first 2 large down red candlesticks. And what you generally see is you'll see the sellers kind of slowly exit, and it'll eventually work its way back up. Silver down 2.4%. We're still underneath this resistance line that I drew in there. Big selling pressure here, kind of the come up of that retest of the resistance line, and this could roll over. Is there something coming in the system that's going to cause everything to sell off? Definitely, potentially. Maybe the tariff and the unemployment that might be driven by the tariffs for truckers and dock workers and whatever else is out there could have an impact. We've got platinum down 1.6% today, and we are still chugging sideways in this pattern here. Palladium up 3.5, just a little bit above support here, and that's also squeezing into a corner here between resistance and support. XAU to gold ratio, we're seeing the gold and silver mining companies outperform gold itself. This does occur, keep in mind that gold doesn't have to go up for these to go way up. If it just tracks sideways, each day that this is above 3,000 means that the companies that sell products is obtaining higher and higher valuations for the gold that they sell. So always keep that in mind. We could see very good earnings over time in the mining companies. So GDX looks fantastic. Nice little bullish engulfing today. We've got GDXJ doing the same thing and SILJ doing something very similar. So we pulled on back away from the resistance area, and we are starting to, you want to check these lows coming up into resistance, and then you want to see it eventually break on through. And it could be a pretty big run. But this is SILJ that we're looking at there. Crude oil down quite a bit today, 3.74%. We had this rising wedge. We have two bearish engulfing candlesticks that showed up. Then we're getting the selling pressure here. Now we want to see if we bottom in this general circle there, or if we're going to cut through it. How do we know which one it's going to be? If we cut through, you're going to get these big red candlesticks that continue. If we're going to bottom out, you'll most likely see wicks at the bottom like these, where you travel down and then buyers come in and step it, and you get like a little wick at the bottom. Or you get a bullish reversal candlestick or something like that if it does put in a potential bottom here. TTF gas up 0.5%, momentum still to the downside. We're getting the upward facing patterns, which is a bearish formation. Natural gas down 1.18. This one doesn't look too bad. We popped higher, and it looks like it could flag out, eventually head on up. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, down 2.83%. Kind of a weird looking candlestick here. The reason I say that is we get these nice big selling pressure candlesticks. We've got a reversal candlestick here, which is a bullish engulfing. We're coming up with small candlesticks in a rising wedge, and this is just not a blowout candlestick to the downside. It's a small opening and closing price. I mean, it's got a little bit of room, but we came off the bottom. That does not. So we gapped down in the morning, and then we held sideways and came up off the bottom. If we were going to get a blowout move to the downside, generally what you'll see is something that moves with some power. That's not a very powerful candlestick there. So we'll continue to watch it. We'll see if oil has more downside. If it does, we'll have to watch what the follow through is here. If it doesn't follow, what that means is that people are buying the equities, and let's say oil, is the one that moves a little bit lower. It could put in a reversal candlestick. So sometimes you see that equities diverge from the overall oil price at bottoms. Today we were down, XOP was down 2.83%, and crude oil was down 3.6%. So generally XOP and some of these other ones have leverage, and they move more than crude oil. That wasn't the case today. OIH also down a little bit, down about 3%, but we're getting these wicks at the bottom. If this was really going to move, you get these big candlesticks, and they usually close pretty close to the bottom there. You don't get these tight candlesticks where the opening and closing price isn't gigantic. So you can see that we came up off the bottom there to create the wick from here, the closing price there. That'll be the wick at the bottom of a daily candlestick. Newcastle Coal Futures up 0.55%, right at support. That looks like it's trying to go higher. I think that looks good. We've got Sprott Physical Uranium Trust up 0.29%, pretty good compared to what everything else looks like out in the market. And that's a bullish kind of setup going on here. I think we could potentially head higher for the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. We've got uranium futures pricing tracking sideways for the most part, but it looks like it's bottoming and starting to turn higher. We've got URA down about 0.5%. I drew in a potential shoulder, head, maybe shoulder that we get. Maybe. I just threw that in there as a guess. URNM down slightly. Still looks good. That's a very small candlestick. And then we've got URNJ down slightly, but the momentum is coming back up throughout the day. So it gapped down in the morning. Came back up throughout the day. That is generally a bullish signal because the sellers could not hold it down and the buyers came in and bought it back up throughout the day. Nickel down 0.74%. Looking like we could potentially roll over here. We had big selling pressure move, a weak bounce, and we could easily head lower for nickel. Copper, big move lower, down 5.5%. From what I hear, this deals with China. China and the tariff stuff going on is backing up their manufacturing production. So usually they'd ship all this stuff out and you've got these commodities and things running through the facilities. Putting these tariffs on has reduced the orders, which has then backed up some of the manufacturing, which kind of goes all the way back to copper and other materials that are coming. So these tariffs are now being felt even at the commodity level here. And I think oil is probably in a similar situation as copper. COPX down 3%. That's also feeling it with the copper move. Lithium down slightly. This still looks very bullish. This is just a flag pattern. We could easily break higher here for lithium. REMX down 1.42%. Still looks okay. Nothing too worried about this. And you can also put a kind of a trend line going through there, somewhere in there. We've got iron ore down 0.36%. It's at this kind of double bottom area. And we've been chopping sideways here for the most part. Now, all of these could be impacted. If the tariffs stay on and there's no negotiation that is performed or done, then we could see problems in a bunch of commodities in the short term. We could see a recession. We could see things. Aluminum down 3%. That's also getting hit pretty hard here. And I do think that we had a big move lower, and this is just a flag pattern where we could potentially head lower in the short term. Baltic Dry Index down 0.36%. Not a huge down day. It's coming off this bottom here. It still looks okay. Emerging markets up 0.25%. That's just slowly working its way on up. We've got MU up slightly, and it's underneath resistance. The resistance is coming from this upper trend line. But we do have a pretty good setup to try to work our way on up. KRE down 1.15, and just flagging higher here. That looks good to continue higher. We've got XHB up 0.8%. Surprisingly, this is up, but that looks good to go higher for home builders. Russell 2000 down 0.63. It's holding on, just tracking sideways there. We've got the S&P 500 up slightly. Little bullish engulfing, trying to work its way on up. Plunge protection team doing its job. NASDAQ also a very similar pattern here. Very similar pattern. We've got SMCI down 11.5%. I don't know what's going on there, but looks like we're trying to put in a double bottom. NVIDIA down slightly, but we worked our way on up, and we're right on support, and we're using that as support. Bitcoin down, again, slightly, still looks good to go higher. No big reversal candlestick or anything like that. Ethereum up 0.4%. And again, this looks good to go higher. It's just a gigantic flag pattern. We're up against a little bit of resistance. MicroStrategy down slightly, but still momentum's to the upside. And then the VIX is up 2.19% today. It was up a lot more than that earlier in the day. And this does look like we're coming down and we could get a potential spike higher in the VIX as you kind of come in these falling wedges here. You easily head higher. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you'd like. Special is the coupon code. We've got a question and answer session coming up this weekend. Sunday at 5 p.m. Is the Q&A session. And that's all I've got for today, guys. So we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.